What if I told you that bread, rice, and potatoes are actually not the enemy? What if I told you that you can still enjoy them even after you have celebrated your 60th birthday? It turns out that the true secret to reclaiming your energy and finally shrinking your waistline is not really about what you eat. It is not about cutting out entire food groups. Instead, the secret is exactly how and when you eat your food. The truth is that most of us have been doing it backwards for decades without even knowing it. For many of us, the story we hear has been the exact same one for a very long time. It can feel relentless. We are told over and over again that as we get older, our metabolism naturally slows down. We are told that our body's sensitivity to insulin drops significantly. We are told that the only responsible choice we have left is to say a permanent, sad goodbye to the comfort foods we have loved our whole lives. We look at a delicious bowl of pasta or a slice of fresh, warm sourdough bread, and we do not see joy. We see a mistake waiting to happen. We start to fear the food on our plates. We fear the heavy tiredness that sets in right after lunch. We fear that confused brain fog that clouds our thinking in the afternoon. And, of course, we fear that stubborn belly fat that seems absolutely impossible to move no matter what we try. However, I have good news for you. The reality is far more nuanced, and it is far more hopeful than you might think. The challenge we face isn't necessarily the carbohydrate itself. The bread or the rice is not the villain here. The true issue is the rapid spike in blood sugar that happens when we consume these foods in the wrong state or in the wrong order. When we eat these foods in the standard way, especially as our bodies go through changes after the age of 40 and 50, we trigger a massive glucose surge. This huge surge is what drives the exhaustion you feel. This surge is what drives the weight gain. But I want you to ask yourself a question. What if you could flatten that blood sugar curve significantly without banning your favorite foods? What if you could use simple, scientific levers to fundamentally change how your body processes a meal? Today, we are going to walk through 5 specific, scientifically grounded insights. These are powerful tools that allow you to eat carbs without the usual negative consequences. We are going to cover everything from a simple temperature trick that changes the actual chemical structure of your food to a liquid primer you can drink before meals to protect your digestion. You will want to stay with me until the very end of this video. Our revelation number 1, the final piece of advice we will share, is the absolute game changer. It describes a specific biological mechanism that basically turns your muscles into a glucose sponge. This allows you to clear sugar from your blood without your pancreas even needing to lift a finger to help. It is the closest thing to a metabolic reset button that we have available to us. If you are ready to take control of your health and stop fearing your food, please go ahead and click that subscribe button right now. Join our growing community of healthy agers who are learning to thrive. Just a quick but very important reminder before we dive in. All the information shared today is strictly for educational purposes. Everyone has a unique health situation that is different from everyone else. Please make sure to consult your doctor or your healthcare provider before making any significant changes to your diet, your exercise routine, or your health regimen. This is especially important if you have pre-existing conditions or if you are currently on any medication. Let's use this knowledge to have informed, smart discussions with them. Now, let's unlock these secrets together. We are going to start with a fascinating trick involving temperature. Have you ever thought that the simple way you store your leftovers could actually help you lose weight? This brings us to our insight number 5. We are going to call this the temperature twist. Most of us have a habit. We cook our rice or our potatoes, and we eat them immediately while they are piping hot. It is delicious, of course. We all love a hot meal. However, there is a catch. When starches are cooked and eaten while they are still hot, they are digested very, very fast. They turn into glucose in your bloodstream almost instantly. This rapid absorption creates the sharp spike in energy and insulin that we are trying so hard to avoid. Therefore, we can use a little bit of kitchen chemistry to our advantage. If you cook your starches, like white rice, potatoes, or even your pasta, and then cool them in the refrigerator for at least 24 hours, something magical happens to the food. The starch molecules realign and retrograde. They transform into something new. They turn into what is called resistant starch. To truly grasp how the temperature twist works, let's use a clear picture to help us understand. I want you to imagine that a standard starch molecule is like a suitcase. Imagine this suitcase is sitting there, unlocked and wide open. Because it is open, your digestive enzymes can easily reach inside the suitcase. They can grab the contents, which is the glucose, and throw them everywhere in your house. It makes a mess. But when you cool that starch in the fridge, it is like you are locking the suitcase tight and wrapping it in layers of heavy duct tape. Your digestive system tries to open it, but it simply cannot get to everything inside. Consequently, the result is very different. Instead of flooding your blood with sugar, that resistant starch travels down to your colon largely unchanged. Once it arrives there, it does something good. It feeds your good gut bacteria. It acts as a prebiotic. This process effectively lowers the glycemic impact of the food you are eating. And here is the best part of all: you can actually reheat the food. The structure remains changed even after you warm the food back up for your meal. So, meal prepping your carb sources ahead of time and letting them cool isn't just a convenient way to save time. It is actually a metabolic shield for your body. Now that we have prepped our food to be healthier, let's talk about how we can prep our body. This leads us to strategy number 4, which we call the metabolic primer. This strategy involves a simple pantry staple that has been used for centuries by many cultures. Yet, modern science is just now validating and proving its profound effect on blood sugar. I am talking about vinegar. Specifically, I am talking about apple cider vinegar or even simple lemon juice. The challenge we often face is that our stomach empties out too quickly. It dumps food into the small intestine where glucose is then absorbed rapidly into the blood. However, acetic acid, which is the active component found in vinegar, does something helpful. It acts like a brake pedal for your digestion. I want you to think of your digestion like a busy highway. Imagine a freeway at rush hour. Without a traffic cop to direct things, all the cars, which represent the glucose, rush onto the freeway at the exact same time. This causes a massive traffic jam. That jam is your insulin spike. But when you introduce this metabolic primer to the system, it acts like a ramp meter or a traffic officer standing there. It slows down the cars. It allows them to merge onto the highway one by one, safely and slowly. The traffic flows smoothly. The dangerous spike is flattened out. Therefore, the strategy for you is very simple. About 10 to 15 minutes before you sit down to eat a carb-rich meal, you can make a drink. Mix 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar into a tall glass of water and drink it. Using organic vinegar with the mother is the best option. If the taste is too strong for you, and for many people it is, lemon juice works as well. You could also use a high-quality vinegar capsule. Research suggests this simple act can reduce the glucose response by a significant margin. Sometimes it can lower it by up to 30%. Now, I must give you a quick safety note. Vinegar is acidic. For those of us with sensitive teeth or certain stomach issues, we need to be careful. It is important to dilute it heavily with plenty of water. Perhaps you should drink it through a straw to protect the enamel on your teeth. As always, you must listen to your body. If this causes heartburn or discomfort, this specific strategy might not be for you, and that is perfectly okay. There are other strategies we can use, so let's look at where we are. We have cooled our carbs to change their structure. We have primed our stomach with vinegar. Now, we actually sit down to eat. This brings us to secret number 3, the green guard. This secret is all about the order in which you eat the food that is sitting on your plate. Imagine you sit down to a lovely dinner. You have a plate of pasta, a fresh-side salad, and some grilled chicken. The standard approach, and the one that usually spikes insulin, is to dive right into the pasta first. We do this because it is warm, it smells good, and it is comforting. However, doing that gives the carbohydrates a free pass straight into your bloodstream without any resistance. Therefore, we need to install a security system to stop this. That system is fiber. We want to eat our vegetables, which act as our green guard, first. Let's use a sports analogy to make this clear. If you eat the carbs first, it is like playing a soccer game with no goalie in the net. The ball, which is the sugar, flies right into the net every single time to score a goal. But when you eat a cup of broccoli, spinach, or a nice green salad before you touch the carbohydrates, something happens. That fiber creates a gel-like mesh in your intestines. It literally sets up a net to catch the sugar. Consequently, when you finally eat the pasta, the glucose molecules get trapped in this fiber mesh. They struggle to get through the net to reach the bloodstream. This slows down the absorption drastically. It flattens the curve, so the rule is simple for every meal. First, you eat the fiber, and then you eat the rest. It is not about eating less food. It is entirely about sequencing your food for success. Building right on top of our green guard, we have another crucial layer of defense for your body. We call this key number 2, the satiety anchor. This refers to prioritizing protein and healthy fats before you take that first bite of starch. As we age, our muscles become less sensitive to insulin. This means they do not listen to the signal to open up and accept energy as well as they used to do. This is the very essence of what we call insulin resistance. If we flood the system with pure carbs, the pancreas panics. It overcompensates and releases too much insulin. However, protein has a superpower. It stimulates a hormone called glucagon. Think of insulin and glucagon like two siblings sitting on a seesaw at a playground. When insulin is high from eating carbs, the fat burning stops, but protein helps to balance that seesaw. It tells the pancreas to stay calm. It anchors the meal down. Here is the analogy to help you visualize this. Imagine your digestion is a boat floating on the water. If you just toss in lighter items like carbs, the boat gets tossed around violently by the waves. It is unstable. Therefore, eating your steak, your eggs, your salmon, or your avocado before the rice acts like dropping a heavy anchor into the water. It stabilizes the boat. It slows gastric emptying. So, the smart carb plate looks like this. First, you eat the salad, which is the green guard. Then, you eat the chicken and the avocado, which is the satiety anchor. And finally, as the very last step, you enjoy the rice or the bread. By the time you get to the carbs, your body is primed and ready. Digestion is slowed down. Your hunger hormones are satisfied. You will likely find that you are satisfied with a smaller portion of carbs naturally without feeling deprived at all. And now, we arrive at the most potent tool in our entire arsenal. We have prepped our food. We have sequenced our meal. We have eaten. But the job isn't done yet. This is revelation number 1. The 10-minute miracle. It is also known as the kinetic key. This is the one carb hack that can arguably undo the impact of a heavy meal more effectively than anything else we have discussed. It is simply this: you need post-meal movement. However, let's be very clear about this. I'm not talking about running a marathon after dinner. I'm not talking about heavy gym sessions. I'm talking about a gentle, deliberate 10-minute walk. To understand why this is our number 1 revelation, you have to understand a specific biological mechanism in your body. Usually, for sugar to get from your blood into your muscles, it needs insulin to knock on the door and open the gate. Yet, when you contract your muscles, like when you walk, do calf raises, or march in place, your muscles act independently of insulin. They do not need the insulin signal. Here is the metaphor that changes everything. I want you to think of your muscles as a sponge. If the sponge is dry and sitting on the kitchen counter, it cannot soak up a spill. You need a cleaning spray, which represents insulin, to make it work. But when you move your muscles, it is like you are squeezing and releasing that sponge in a bucket of water. It mechanically creates a vacuum. That vacuum sucks the glucose right out of your bloodstream. Therefore, by taking a simple 10-minute walk immediately after eating, you are manually opening the gates for glucose to leave your blood. You are using that sugar to fuel your movement. You are effectively bypassing the insulin resistance that naturally happens with age. You are lowering the blood sugar spike. You are lowering the insulin response. You are telling your body to burn energy right now rather than store it as fat for later. Now, when it comes to this 10-minute miracle, it is especially important for us to approach it with awareness and care. If you have mobility issues or if walking is difficult for you, this doesn't mean you are left out. You can do seated calf raises while watching TV, you can do gentle arm circles, or you can just march in place while holding onto a sturdy chair for balance. Some of these strategies might be more suited if you are aiming for a higher level of fitness, while others can be wonderfully adapted for consistent, gentle progress. You must listen to your body. Movement is medicine, but it should never be painful. This simple habit, more than any pill you can buy or any supplement you can take, puts the control back in your hands. It turns a passive activity, like digesting your food, into an active metabolic win for your health, and there you have it. That is our game-changing revelation number 1. It might seem surprisingly simple to just take a walk, but as we have explored today, the impact it has on turning your muscles into glucose sponges is profound. It is the final piece of the puzzle that allows you to enjoy your life and your food without fear. So, let's take a moment to recap our journey today. We covered a lot of ground. We started with the temperature twist, learning to cool our starches to create resistant starch. We unlocked the metabolic primer with vinegar to slow digestion. We built our defenses with the green guard of fiber to create a net and the satiety anchor of protein to stabilize the boat. And finally, we activated our metabolism with the 10-minute miracle of movement to burn off the sugar. Each of these insights is a stepping stone to better health. You don't have to do them all perfectly every single day. That is not the goal, but imagine if you just did 2 of them. Or imagine if you managed 3. Imagine the difference in how you would feel after a meal. Imagine the energy you would have. Which of these insights resonated with you the most? Perhaps it was our clever temperature twist, or maybe that powerful satiety anchor, or even our ultimate game changer number 1. Which one are you thinking of trying at your next meal? I would love to hear your thoughts. Please share them in the comments below. If you found this journey through these health discoveries valuable, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps others find our community, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more powerful strategies tailored for our fantastic group of healthy seniors. Until next time, stay healthy, stay curious, and keep thriving.